Chapter 18, New Adventures, page 76. To get ready for our tanning session, I showered and shaved. I wanted to be clean and fresh to absorb the sun. I was still looking like a tourist that landed last week. As soon as I showed up, she sniffed and smelled I was freshly showered. I confirmed with an excited yes. She revealed to me that in order for me to absorb the sun to get a tan, I had to have at least 8 hours of natural oils on before I would turn brown. What? I gasped. That's why I haven't been able to get a tan. I was so thankful to get this information. I had showered every time before I went to tanning to look pretty. Incredibly simple. We had set a schedule of tanning sessions for the next month to see the results of my new experiment. I was always amazed at the view of Hawaii from that far up. I had observed the mountains every time I went up there to tan. The mountains were always in a mist even on the clearest of days. That is why it was always green, I had decided. I wondered if there was natural berries or vegetables available to pick. I also was curious if you could drink the fresh creek water or if you would get sick. Some things you never get to find out. I was finally starting to blend in with the locals with my beautiful bronze tan. It turns out that I did not even come close to getting a sunburn. I just kept getting darker and darker as the month progressed. The closest I came to getting a sunburn was out on the water all day surfing. Double exposure is what they called it. My face turned a glowing pink hue from surfing all day. I still kept up the schedule of workouts to hike the mountain. The mountain loomed over us every day and was a constant reminder of the day we would hike to the top. I enjoyed listening to the Eagles or Pink Floyd walking to and from my friend's apartment. The days were starting to run on into one another and turn monotonous. I tried to get some coworkers to travel to the other islands, a no-go. Most of them were college students that attended the University of Hawaii. My dad still continued with his schoolwork. It was getting near the end of his studies, and the company sent a small kit with the materials to build a little house. My dad still planned activities on the weekends, or we would go see a movie with dinner after. Thoroughly bummed that everyone bailed on exploring the other islands, I focused on heading back to Alaska. My ticket to Alaska was nearing and circled on the calendar. My friend invited me to stay in Hawaii with her and her boyfriend. Awesome. I thanked her but said that the man I want is in Alaska. I could feel it. I wanted an Alaskan man. I was working at the donut shop one night when the most gorgeous man I had ever seen came in to get after-work snacks. I spied him right as soon as he entered the store to shop. 15 minutes later, this group of Japanese came to get donuts and coffee. The first guy ordered and I served him. I did not see the Japanese man was with this group of men. It took me by total surprise. I looked into those gorgeous green eyes. Mesmerized, I was rendered speechless and deaf temporarily. I had seen his lips moving, ordering some coffee and donuts, but I did not hear a word of what he said. I finally came out of the spell he had on me. What? That was all I could get to come out of my mouth. I told him he was the best-looking man I had ever seen my whole entire life. I had no control of the words. They just flew out of my mouth before I realized what was happening. He looked at me puzzled, like that was not the proper response to his order. The man didn't even speak English. Out of nowhere, one of his colleagues told him what I had said. A breathtaking smile came across his face as he understood what I had said to him. Just before they left the store, he stuck his head around the corner and said, "Hi, I see you later." Wow, I blushed to my ears, I'm sure of it. Sigh. Some things are just not in the cards. He had green eyes and jet black hair. I had told my boss about the encounter that I had with the green-eyed Japanese man. She immediately wanted to know more about him so she could set me up. to get married and stay in Waikiki. I just laughed and said that I was going to find my man in Alaska. I did enjoy my time selling donuts, surfing, and exploring Honolulu. Every day was beautiful, made me feel alive, but I was starting to get restless again to move on to the next big thing, Alaska. On the calendar was another date nearing, was to climb Diamond Head. I love the outdoors and mountain climbing. Excited, I had kept up with my workouts while I was away visiting with my friends. I was in excellent shape. I loved the feeling of stretching hard, the good pain. My dad had seen an all-you-can-eat spaghetti place, and we planned to go there the next weekend. We had fasted for 2 days before we went to all-you-can-eat spaghetti place. My dad and I showed up ready to eat some spaghetti. Bring it on. By the time I had finished my first serving, my dad was finishing his second plate and getting a third. It was a delicious, served with a piece of garlic bread and small serving salad on an oval plate. When I was done with my second plate, Dad was ready for a fourth. The guy comes out and says that we were eating too much. I ordered my third plate and gave it to Dad. I was stuffed. Before Dad could finish his fourth plate of spaghetti, the guy came over and kicked us out of the place. You eat too much. We were catching some good waves the next day, still full of spaghetti. The waves that were hitting Waikiki that day were monstrous, at 5 to 6 feet on some sets. Wow, some days it just doesn't get any better. We ate at the open-air market to watch people while our stomachs were ready for the next round of surfing. Honolulu always had small shows of natives to Hawaii. Plenty of food trucks to try different cuisines of the world just down from where we lived. Every day we seen hundreds of tourists. It was awesome. We were surfing for about an hour after lunchtime when my dad didn't return out to the surfing grounds to catch another wave. I was waiting to try to catch a wave in together. The waves were amazing. I waited one more set of waves and decided I should go see what happened to Dad. I caught this wave that surfed me all the way to the beach at lightning speed. Pure excitement. My dad was waiting for me when I got to the beach, covering his left eye with his hand. I got close enough to see that he had lost his lens out of his glasses while surfing. Phew. The waves will have to wait another day. My dad and I changed over to street clothes to go to the mall and get him another pair of glasses. I woke up early on the morning we were going to hike Diamond Head. I ate my breakfast of cereal, fruit, and donut from my shop with some hot tea. I was almost too excited to eat anything, but I knew myself. If I didn't eat right away, I would talk myself out of it and run on empty. I felt great by the time we were ready to catch the bus to the entrance of the mountain. Just before we went out the door, Betty said she was not going. What? We had been training for months to hike the mountain on this day. Diamond Head was the classic shape of volcano that had erupted and created a bowl. On the ocean side of the bowl was the highest peak where the stairs of 1,000 steps waited for us. A tunnel directly across the stairway was where we entered into a different world. We both took a moment to breathe in the air. It smelled hot, salty, and clean all at the same time. By the time we had crossed over to the end with the stairway, the hottest point of the day was about to start. We had been preparing for months to do this hike in the sun. We both were tanned, hydrated, and spent days in the sun exercising. Training 5 days a week. We were ready. We were lucky that we hit the stairway at the hottest part of the day because inside the staircase was a cool draft from the ocean. Sweet, cool ocean air. We could close our eyes and almost feel like a cool Alaskan breeze had come to cool us down. Refreshed, we hit the 1,000-step staircase with enthusiasm. Climbing in long, lazy circles seemed to start to mesmerize us as we climbed up. I had started out counting to see if it really was 1,000 steps, but was under this drive to just take one more step. One more step. Just when auto mode started to kick in, the pattern of the staircase changed. It slowly turned into a square, zigzag pattern. Puzzled, we took 10 minutes to catch our breath. We were exhausted, and the space started to feel smaller and smaller the longer we were in the endless tunnel of going up. Always one more step up. Near the top, a very tall couple were coming down the stairs and said that the climb was worth it. She laughed at us and said that we only had 100 more steps to go. Yes. We come flying out of that small space and mesmerizing staircase to a spectacular view that erased all the trepidation we felt climbing those stairs. Miles and miles of ocean in every direction made us seem like we were so small. We were in paradise on a Thailand island in the middle of the ocean. With the heat waves coming off the ocean and the side of the mountain, it made it seem like we were in another world. We could hear the waves crashing on the beaches below us. No other sound made time slow way down. This is what we had trained for. We just relaxed and took it in. During the war, they had built some bunkers in the mountain. One of these were about 100 feet from the entrance to the staircase. I was not very excited to go back into that small space where the 1,000-step stairs were. We had seen another bunker halfway across the bowl on the left. We decided to circle the bowl on the left to check out the other bunker and drop down just before the tunnel. We jumped over this small little rope fence to hike off the beaten path. We explored the other bunker all by ourselves. It felt great. We rest and enjoy the fruits of our labor. What a view! We did not bring any drinks or snacks. It was getting to be late afternoon when we left the bunker behind. Time to get back to the hustle and bustle of Waikiki to eat a huge celebration dinner. When we started to drop down the sides of the bowl, we seen in the distance a police vehicle parked near the entrance of the tunnel. Apparently they were waiting for us. Yes, they were there for my dad and I. Shocked. The Honolulu police said that it was forbidden to cross over the fence and go off the beaten path. What? My dad stated that we had seen no sign saying we couldn't go to the other bunker. They were called because people were concerned for our safety. We had entered into forbidden lands and trespassed. He said that we put our lives on the line when we jumped the fence. My dad told them that we are Alaskans and that we could handle it. The officer just shook his head and wrote down our names for future reference. If we were caught one more time jumping the fence, we would go to jail. We already came and did what we trained for, never to return. Jail. Rebels we were, fence jumpers, and